Tyrese Maxey's injury, Filip Petrušev's presence, Sixers defense. We'll talk about that and more next. Locked on.
You are Locked On 76ers, your daily Philadelphia 76ers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On 76ers your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Well, Monday night, the 76ers won their first preseason game of the season. They defeated the Brooklyn Nets. The final score was 127 to 119. It was a game where the Brooklyn Nets committed 28 turnovers. They had 18 in the first half. The Sixers were all over the place, getting steals left and right. Now, to me personally, when you look at preseason games, now the Sixers are 1-2 because they lost the first two games to Boston. But when you look at preseason games, it's not always about the score. It's not always about wins and losses. It's always about how people adjust and what happens and trying to keep people healthy, right? Now, you look at the Sixers. Tyrese Maxey went out. He got injured in the first half. He didn't return. He went to the locker room in the second quarter with back spasms. And to me, right now, the Sixers are saying, everything is fine. It was more for precautionary reason. But it's also one of those things where you want to see how he does the next morning, right? You want to see how it is if he goes to sleep, how his back is going to feel, this and that. Now, to me, the question is, or not the question, it raises the question of what do they do next? And what I mean by that is we talk about the James Harden situation. So you have a lot of uncertainty with James. You don't know if James is going to be here or not. And then you look at Tyrese Maxey to carry the load, assuming James isn't going to be here. And then all of a sudden, he can't play the second half because of back spasms. Now, again, preseason game, they are saying that everything's precautionary reasons, but it also makes you understand why important it is to get this thing resolved. Either James and Daryl are going to sit down and be able to coexist, which it seems extremely unlikely right now, or you're going to hurry up and make a move, make a deal, so you can get somebody in here that can help you. Not only did Joel not play, he was not with the team. James wasn't with the team. PJ Tucker didn't play. He was a late scratch. Furkan Korkmaz is hurt. Daniel House is hurt. So and then you also got Montrezl Harrell who's hurt, right? But he hasn't been here at all. So when you think of that, it is a whole lot of things that make you want to speed up this process because, yes, Kelly Oubre been playing well. Yes, Tobias Harris. It's Tobias Harris, right? He's one of the leaders on the team, right? Jaden Springer coming off the bench had another phenomenal game, right? Danny Green provides that leadership, that 3-point shooting that you talk about, right? But if you don't have James Harden, and if Tyrese Maxey gets hurt, and then you don't have much. I'm sorry. Now, and that's not a knock against the guys on the roster. What it is these two are going to be they are expected to lead your offense. Harden, stick jumpers when available, but be a facilitator to get everybody involved. Maxey, they want Tyrese Maxey to shoot the ball at least 20 times a game, at least 20 times a game, right? So when you factor it in and you think about his not being able to finish the game, it's just one of those things where you look at it and you say to yourself, like, something that we got to get resolved, especially, on a night where, Joel didn't play and James didn't play and everything else that you have. The one thing is the injuries, and they're not the only injuries. Like I said, you look at Furkan Korkmaz, a guy who, let's face it, who wasn't in the rotation at the end of last year. Whenever he came in, he did show that he could play. He could give them something, but he has yet to play. I mean, this guy suffered a hamstring strain the first day of training camp. And then you look at D House, right? I mean, they're saying that D House, when D House, they thought he had knee tendonitis, right? They thought it was just going to be something like, okay, he'll miss a game, late scratch, this and that. Now, this is something that's been lingering. Now, and they said, he said, oh, I'm not really worrying about it, this and that. But the fact is, these are guys who, you want to see what they can do, and D House, a guy that you expected to be in the rotation, who basically isn't getting these reps right now. Now again, it's great for guys like Jaden Springer, but at the same time, the Sixers want to see what they can do. They want to see how they can play. So, I get it. They've been going hard every day. They're off today, being Tuesday, just like they were off last Tuesday, the day after they played the Boston Celtics in the preseason opener. So they're getting some rest, but they're going at it. They're going hard. And but they need to go at it. They need to go hard. You got a new coach. You got to figure out what you have. I mean, they opened the season at the Milwaukee Bucks on the 26th. From there, they'll play the Toronto Raptors on the road, a homecoming for Nick Nurse. And then the very next night after that, they have the Portland Trailblazers at home, right? So, they got a tough slate coming up. So you got to get them ready. But to me, it's a lot of guys aren't playing in these games or getting injured. So that's something that has to be taken care of, something corrected, just or be careful with. And this why it's important to, I hate to say it, but get this James Harden situation resolved. And we'll talk about Filip Petrušev when we get back after talking about BetterHelp after this little live read. BetterHelp. Now, here's the thing, y'all. BetterHelp. When you talk about BetterHelp, now this little segment, this episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. Give online therapy a try at BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA and get on your way to being your best self. Now, the thing about BetterHelp is, I have certain friends, and sometimes it's been me, where I think too much. I think too much. Like, hey, I know everything is cool, but I think, and sometimes I create scenarios that's not there, right? So for you, if you do the same thing, or if you just need to speak to someone, you can just go and talk to a doctor in regards to this, just to make sure to get your mentals right. Because a lot of times, I hate to say it, our brain can be the worst thing. You think of things too much. So if you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited for your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Make your brain your friend with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/LockedOnNBA to get $10 off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. I'm telling y'all, Do it today, people. Definitely do it today. Now I want to talk about Filip Petrušev. Now the thing is, my man got his first meaningful minutes yesterday in a preseason game. He was actually the backup. He was the first big off the bench. He was actually the sixth man. Paul Reed, brother couldn't stay out of foul trouble, right? Paul couldn't stay out of foul trouble, so Philip came in and was the backup. I mean, in the first half, you kind of felt bad for Paul because Paul had what? He had like 4 fouls in 8 minutes in the first half. But what that did is it enabled Petrušev to come in and get some quality minutes. Now Reed ended up with 4 fouls in 20 minutes and 34 seconds. So he basically settled down a little bit. He had 18 points. Reed did. He had 5 rebounds. He shot 9 for 15. He had a steal. Now, Filip Petrušev, he been playing his most meaningful minutes of the whole entire preseason. He ended up with seven points on 2 for 5 shooting. He was 1 for 3 on threes. He made both his foul shots. He had 5 rebounds. 3 of them were offensive boards, which is huge. He had 3 assists and he had a block, right? He was a +7. The thing is, when you look at it, if we're going to be honest with ourselves, um, you would coming into this season, you felt like Petrušev was just a guy who said a draft and stash who wanted to play in the NBA. So what the Sixers did is say, hey, we're going to give you an opportunity to just come over here. You're probably not going to make the team, but you forced your way over. So we're going to provide you with the opportunity. We'll give you a little bit of guaranteed money. And if things don't work out, you just got 500 and whatever $1,000 guaranteed and you go on your way, right? That's what you thought. But then when you saw how Mo Bamba has been playing, and you hear great things about Mo Bamba at practice, but he's been a little erratic, missing shots, getting a lot of fouls, things like that. So all of a sudden you look at it and you say, okay, well, maybe does Philip have a chance? But you don't really believe it, right? But you're saying to yourself, but does he have like a little chance of making the team? Or could he contribute? Could he do this? Could he do that? Now the thing about Mo Bamba, he's it could just be the preseason, it could be whatever. But he looks to be a guy that could help the Sixers at some point, right? He just does. He has the body, he can shoot. He's great friends with Joel Embiid, the whole nine. But Petrušev yesterday came in and played fairly well, that I felt like. He showed some touch. He was only 1 for 3 on threes, but I say only. That 33%. That's not bad, right? But I like the shot he took. I like the shots he took. I like the offensive rebounds. I like the assists. He plays with an extremely high IQ. He knows what he can do. He doesn't try to do extra things. Do I still think he might have a tough time making a team? Yeah, I think he'll have to, you know, produce another quality performance like this. The thing about it is, you feel like he would be fine if he had a two-way deal, like, right? If he was a guy who could go down into the G League team and play for them and come up and this and that, because you feel like he's quality. But again, I got to give him credit. He showed me something. He also didn't have any back down from Ben Simmons. Now, we all know Ben from when Ben played with the Sixers. It's kind of like sometimes foul a guy, this and that, and give him a nudge, he'll do this and that, just try to get in the guy's head. Well, Philip didn't back down. And they yapped a little bit. They both received double text, the whole nine. That led to Patrick Beverly getting ejected after a while because he was yapping. He picked up his second tech. But it is what it is, man. Like, I like what I saw. I like what I saw. The thing is, now let's face it, the Sixers do need what we saw this preseason. They do need some help. I mean, the backup center position, yes, Paul Reed shot 18. Shot shot 9 for 15. He had 18 points. But the totality, I don't think that the center position this preseason has been strong. Now, when you look at it, you say Joel didn't play, which is true. These guys are backups. They could be situational guys. I think that Paul Reed was thinking a little bit too much, early on. But when you say that the play hasn't been that strong, you look at it and you say, well, maybe Filip can help him a little bit, or maybe he can get a roster spot, you know. And the thing is, it will be the thing is, it's like, okay, that the Sixers don't, or Daryl Morey said this summer that they don't intend on trading Montrezl Harrell or waiving Montrezl Harrell. They would like to use his salary um, as something that they could trade. He's out for the year, but then when you look at it, you say, well, maybe you might need a guy that's going to play, on the roster. So maybe that could help Filip out because I really haven't been overly impressed with the center play. Now, the thing that I will say is they did look good in the scrimmage, right? They did look good in the scrimmage, but in these live games, I can't say that I was overly impressed at all. I can't say that. Nah, I wasn't impressed at all. When we get back, I want to talk about the Sixers defense. They're getting at it. Another great performance by Mr. Jaden Springer. Let's talk about game time, right? Thing about game time. See, I like game time, and I've done this before. I remember a couple of years ago when the Sixers, it was a playoff series, second round, and I wanted to surprise the family, right? So what I did is I could purchase them some tickets. It was crazy though, because you're trying to get them at the last second. The prices are going up. People are trying to get them. They're trying to. I mean, it was just a lot. It was a lot of hassle doing it. Well, you don't have to worry about that with Game Time, right? Game Time specializes in last minute tickets, flash deals, and zone deals. Easy to find tickets for every kind of event in your arena. So it doesn't have to be basketball or whatever. Views from all seats and venues. Lowest price guaranteed. Event cancellation protection. Job loss protection, etc. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the start of the event and even an hour after it starts. It's the place to find last minute seats. Find exclusive flash deals and zone deals. You pick the section and Game Time picks the seat for an average of 18% savings. And the Game Time guarantees means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Yo, you can't beat that. So what you need to do is download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code Locked On NBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDON NBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Do it today, people. Definitely do it today. So, I like what I saw yesterday in the first half. I really did with the Sixers. I felt like there was a lot of energy. It was funny because initially I wanted to see what Kelly Oubre was going to look like in the starting lineup. From the gate, I didn't like what I saw. And it wasn't Kelly, but I didn't like it because I felt like he wasn't getting involved. Like the ball wasn't swinging to him and this and that. And then it was a missed shot that he got a pick back. Like I want to say dunk, but it wasn't really real emphatic, but it was an athletic play. And that's what kind of got him started. And then, then next thing you know, when the main guys came out, they ran everything through Kelly, or Kelly was just launching it. But the thing that got me was just the defense, how they were just in there. And like Kelly was one of the ones. Kelly Oubre in training camp, he said that he wanted to be more locked in and focused on the defensive end. And he has been. I mean, he really has been. You know, Oubre had like 2 steals, 2 blocks. He was balling. I mean, you have to give it to him. The guy was really balling. But the thing is, I mean, all the guys, they were just swiping the balls from the guys, just picking them, just taking it. And it's like to a point where, you figure, you got Ben Simmons on the other side, who, a pretty good ball handler. He does turn the ball over a lot. But man, it was a swipe fest. You didn't expect it to be that way, even though he overs. Cam Thomas had 3. Lonnie Walker, the fourth, had 4. Spencer Dinwiddie, Nick Claxton both had 2, and so did Royce O'Neal. And then you had Dorian Finney-Smith had 1. I mean, then you go down the list, and then Trendon Watford had 3, and Noah Clowney had 2. It was like equal opportunity turnover. It's weird. They played. Let me see. They played. They played. They played 11 guys, and only 4 of them didn't have turnovers. No, they played 13 guys, and only 4 of them didn't have turnovers. That was crazy. I mean, it was just a turnover fest. And the Sixers, to their credit, they had they had 38 points off of the 28 turnovers. They had 18, like I said, in the first half. Second half, it just slowed down. In the first half, they had 16 points off of 9 Brooklyn Nets turnovers. 16. In the second quarter, they had 6 points off of 9 turnovers, right? So in the first half altogether, they had 22 points off of 18 turnovers. Great defense. Great defense. They got up, they got at you. To be honest with you, it's way better than performances that they had early on, the first 2 games against Boston. So it's something to be proud of. It really is. But look, y'all, I want to thank y'all for listening. Thank you for making Locked On 76ers your first listen of the day. Every dayers. Tomorrow we'll have something from practice. We'll have something, the news of the day from practice, that we'll talk about. I want you guys to know that you can get this podcast wherever you get your podcasts at, free and available. You can also go to the YouTube channel. When you go to the YouTube channel, make sure you like it, and then also click on the Liberty Bell. When you click on the Liberty Bell, you become a new subscriber, and you get notifications when the next podcast drops. I want to thank y'all for listening, and I want y'all to have a blessed day. Peace.